The girl in the cage. The alien market was loud, full of strange sounds and bright lights. Creatures from different planets shouted and bargained. They sold machines, weapons, food and slaves. In one dark corner of the market, there was a small, rusty cage. No one looked at it. No one cared. Inside the cage sat a human girl. Her skin was dry and pale. Her clothes were torn. Her hair was dirty. Flies landed on her arms and face. She did not move. She did not cry. Her eyes were open, but they were empty, like she was already gone inside. Alien buyers walked past her cage. Some looked at her and laughed. "She is broken," said one tall alien with red skin. "Not even worth feeding," said another. "Maybe good for experiments," someone whispered. But no one stopped. No one made an offer. She had been sitting there for days. No food, no water, just silence. She didn't even remember how she got here. Her mind was like fog. Just pain, cold, and fear. A short alien with 4 arms owned her cage. He was a dealer. His name was Kroll. He sat near the cage, smoking something strange, waiting for anyone to show interest. But even he had given up. "Stupid human," he muttered. "Should have sold her on the first day." Suddenly, the crowd grew quiet. Someone was coming. He walked slowly through the market hall, wearing a black coat. His face was covered in shadow, but his walk was strong, calm, like he was not afraid of anyone. Aliens moved aside as he passed. Some looked scared, some curious. He stopped in front of the cage. For the first time in days, the girl blinked. Her eyes looked up at him. She felt something strange, something warm, something human. The man looked down at her. He said nothing, just watched. Kroll stood up. "You want something human?" he asked with a grin. "I have many fine creatures, warriors, hunters, fighters." The man didn't look at Kroll. He pointed at the girl. "How much for her?" Kroll laughed. "Her? She's useless, weak. Maybe half a credit for scrap parts." "I'll give you 5 galactic credits," the man said. The market went silent again. Kroll stared. 5. For her? The man nodded. Kroll grabbed the credits quickly, scared the man would change his mind. "She's yours," he said. "Take the trash." The man opened the cage door. The girl didn't move. He knelt down and held out his hand. "Come, you're free now." Her lips moved, slow and dry. "Free," she whispered. He nodded. "Yes, but you must walk." She tried to stand. Her legs shook. She fell. The man caught her gently. He lifted her in his arms. She was light, like bones in air. As he carried her through the market, everyone watched. Some laughed. Some looked confused. "She won't last a day," someone said. "Crazy human," said another. But the man said nothing. The girl looked up at him. His face was still hidden in shadow, but his eyes were like steel, cold, but not cruel. Strong, but not evil. "Why me?" she asked. He looked forward. "Because no one else saw what I see." Her eyes closed. For the first time in a long time, she felt safe. She did not know who this man was, or where he was taking her. But something inside her whispered, "This is not the end. This is the beginning." They left the market. The wind blew across the metal streets. Behind them, the cage stood empty. Flies still buzzed in the corner. But the girl was gone, and the universe was about to change. The spaceship was silent. Cold lights glowed on the ceiling. The floor was smooth and gray. Inside, the girl lay on a small bed. Clean sheets. Soft pillow. It felt like a dream. She opened her eyes slowly. Her body hurt. Her arms were weak. But she was warm. Safe. A man sat across the room, watching her. The same man who had bought her. He looked calm, serious, and strong. His black coat was gone now. He wore a plain gray shirt. His face was sharp. His hair was short, but it was his eyes that stood out. Steel gray. Cold. Focused like a machine. But deep inside them, something burned. He didn't speak. The girl sat up slowly. "Where are we?" The man answered in a low voice. "We're in space. On my ship." She looked around. "You didn't sell me." "No," he said. "Why?" she asked. He didn't reply right away. He stood and walked to a table. He picked up a metal cup and handed it to her. "Drink." She took it. "Water, clean." She drank too fast and coughed. He waited until she was done. Then he said, "What's your name?" She blinked. "I don't remember." He nodded, like he expected that. They erased it. "Maybe it'll come back." The girl looked down. Her hands were shaking. "You're not a slave anymore," he said. "Not here." She looked up. "Then what am I?" The man walked to a window and stared into space. Stars blinked outside. A red planet passed slowly in the distance. "You're human," he said. She gave a weak laugh. "That didn't help me." He turned back. "It helped you now." "Who are you?" she asked. "I'm called Riven," he said. "I find things that others throw away. People, tech, secrets." She looked at him carefully. "So, I'm just another secret." "No," he said. "You're the reason I came." Her eyes narrowed. "You knew I was there." "I heard rumors," Riven said. "A human girl, alive, in a cage on Drolic 5. The alien said she was worthless, but I know better." She stared at him. "What do you know about me?" He walked to a small box on the table. He opened it and pulled out a glowing crystal. "Do you remember this?" Her eyes locked on it. Her breath caught. Something inside her shifted. Her heart beat faster. "I've seen that before," she whispered. "But where?" Riven nodded. "I found this in the ruins of an old lab. Human and alien tech mixed. A project, a weapon. And then, I heard about you." The girl backed away a little. "You think I'm a weapon? I know you are," Riven said calmly. "But not like a bomb, like a key." "A key to what?" "That's what I'm going to find out," he said. She looked at the crystal. "It's warm, like it remembers me." Riven put it away. "You were made for something. That's why they didn't kill you. They were scared." The girl closed her eyes. "I don't feel special. I feel broken." "You are broken," Riven said. "But broken things can still be powerful." She opened her eyes slowly. "What? Now, he said. "We find out who you were, and what you can do." The ship moved forward through the stars. The engines hummed like a quiet song. Outside, planets turned. Moons spun. In the vast silence, two humans moved toward a mystery. Later that night, the girl sat alone in her room. She looked at her hands, thin, weak, but she felt something. A small spark, like a light under the skin. She reached toward a broken screen in the corner. It had no power. It hadn't worked in years. But when her fingers got close, the screen flickered. Once, twice, then it turned on. She gasped, pulled her hand back. The screen died. Her heart pounded. "What am I?" She didn't know yet, but Riven's words echoed in her mind. "You were made for something." The stars moved like slow fire outside the ship's window. The girl sat quietly, watching them. Her hands rested on her knees. Her breath was steady, but her mind was full of noise. Something was waking up inside her. In the last few hours, she had felt things. Strange things. Screens that turned on without touch. Lights that blinked when she walked past. She said nothing to Riven. Not yet. He was kind but careful. Always watching now. Riven entered the room. He carried a small metal tray. On it was soup, bread, and water. "You need to eat," he said. She nodded and took the tray. "Thank you." He sat across from her. The silence between them was not heavy. It was calm. After a few minutes, she asked, "Have you saved others like me?" Riven shook his head. "No, you're the first." "Why me?" He looked into her eyes. "Because you were left behind. And no one should be forgotten." She stared at him. "Is that really the only reason?" He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "No, I think you're something more. Something hidden, and maybe dangerous." The girl didn't blink. "Do you want to use me?" "No," he said. "I want to understand you." She placed the tray aside and stood up. Her legs were stronger now, her steps more sure. "Then let me show you something." Riven followed her to the control room. It was full of screens, switches, wires. A few were broken. She stopped in front of a dark screen. She raised her hand slowly, watched closely. As her fingers neared the screen, it lit up. No buttons pressed, no wires moved. "See?" she whispered. "I didn't touch it." Riven's eyes narrowed. "That's not normal tech. That's neural link activation. It responds to brainwaves." She turned to him. "I can feel machines. I don't know how, but it's like they speak to me. Not in words, in pulses, in heat." He stepped forward. "This is bigger than I thought." "Who am I, Riven?" she asked, her voice tight. "What did they do to me?" Riven looked at the screen, then at her. "There's a place. A moon called Elaran. There was a lab, their secret, illegal, closed 5 years ago. I think you came from there." Her hands trembled. "I see flashes sometimes. In dreams. Fire, running, screams. A room full of lights and voices I can't understand." "Memories," Riven said. "Buried deep." She sat down. "Am I human?" "Yes," he said. But not only human. Something was added to you, something alien. She didn't speak. Her eyes stared ahead, lost in thought. Riven spoke again. Your body was changed. Not just outside, but inside. They gave you tech that lives in your blood. That's how you control systems without touch. Why would someone do that? To create the perfect weapon, he said. No wires. No need for machines. A living tool. She looked down at her hands. I don't want to be a weapon. You don't have to be, Riven said. That's your choice. She nodded slowly. He stepped away and turned to a console. I've sent a message to an old contact, a doctor. She might help us find the truth. Suddenly, alarms beeped. Riven turned back quickly. What is it? The girl asked. Someone's tracking us. She froze. Who? I don't know, Riven said. But they're fast, and they're not friendly. He pressed buttons quickly. The ship shook as it turned sharply. The girl grabbed a handle to stay on her feet. Can we escape? Maybe, Riven said. If you help me, he pointed to a glowing panel. That's the core control. I need full power. Can you link with it? She walked to the panel, closed her eyes, placed her hand flat on it. A shock ran through her arm. Her mind filled with images, wires, energy, maps of the ship. I see it, she whispered. Then push, Riven said. She focused. The lights around them grew brighter. The engines roared. Engines at 200%. Riven said, you did it. Outside, the stars blurred as the ship jumped forward into light speed. Silence returned. The girl stepped back. Her nose was bleeding. She wiped it away. That was hard. But you saved us, Riven said. You're more than a tool. You're a fighter. She smiled weakly. Not bad for someone who used to sit in a cage. Riven smiled too. Not bad at all. The stars had stopped moving. Riven's ship drifted silently in the shadows of a broken moon. Pieces of ancient space stations floated nearby like frozen bones. Everything was quiet now, after the escape. The girl sat alone in the engine room. Her hands rested on the control panel. The ship no longer hummed under her touch. It was resting, just like her. She stared at her fingers. They looked human. Soft, skin, small cuts. But now she knew the truth. Wires and energy ran beneath them. She was something else. Something built. Are you afraid of yourself? She turned. Riven stood in the doorway, holding a tool in one hand, a data tablet in the other. A little, she said. Should I be? He walked in. You should be careful, but afraid. No, fear makes people weak. You're not weak. She shook her head. I was. Once. That was before, Riven said. She looked at him. Before what? Before you knew what you are, he replied. Silence stretched between them. Then she asked, do you think they're still looking for me? Yes, Riven said. They didn't spend millions building you to let you go. She looked away. What if they find us? Then we fight, Riven said. Or we run. But either way, you won't be in a cage again. He handed her the tablet. On the screen was a file. Old, broken code. A name blinked at the top. Project ECH09. Biointegrated Human Intelligence Unit. That's you, Riven said. Or what they called you. She stared at the name. Cold letters. No warmth. No soul. I was a number, she said softly. Not anymore, Riven replied. Now you have a voice. She scrolled down the file. Diagrams of a human body. Notes in alien language. Then a video. Clip. It flickered and played. A young girl, her sitting in a white room. Wires connected to her head. Scientists speaking. She's responding faster than expected, said one. She learns by instinct, not training, said another. Keep her under control. She's not a child. She's a tool. The clip ended, her hands clenched. I was never meant to live, she said. Just to follow orders. Not anymore, Riven said again. Suddenly, the ship's lights dimmed. A voice echoed through the hall. Unregistered energy detected. External lock engaged. Riven ran to the control panel. His face darkened. They found us. The girl stood. How the moment you linked to the engine, he said. They tracked your signal. She stepped forward. How many ships? Riven tapped the console. His jaw tightened. 3, with hunters. She didn't wait. She ran toward the weapons bay. Wait, Riven shouted. You're not ready. She didn't stop. I don't need to be ready. I need to be free. In the weapons room, she grabbed a pulse shield. Her hands shook, but her heart did not. Outside, small enemy ships circled like vultures. One docked. Doors hissed open. Riven met her at the hallway. I'll stall them, he said. You escaped through the back. She looked at him. No, I'm not running anymore, but let me be what they fear. The ship rocked. Heavy boots echoed. Shadows moved toward them. The girl stepped forward. Her body glowed faintly. The enemy soldiers saw her hand stopped. She raised her hand. The lights above shattered. The walls pulsed. Her voice was calm. You locked me in a cage. You made me a weapon. But you forgot one thing. They aimed their guns. She smiled. I choose what I destroy. Energy burst from her fingers. A wave of light slammed the soldiers backward. Alarms screamed. Walls shook. She walked through smoke and sparks. Behind her, Riven stared in awe. She was not a child, not a victim, not anymore. The ship jumped forward, leaving behind smoke, sparks, and bodies. Riven held the controls tight. Sweat ran down his neck. His eyes didn't blink. His hands moved fast across the panel, dodging asteroids and debris. Behind him, the girl stood, breathing hard. Her clothes were torn. Her skin had burn marks. But her eyes, they were calm, sharp, alive. You all right? Riven asked. She nodded. I didn't kill them. Riven looked at her in the mirror. You didn't have to. That's not who you are. She sat down beside him. But it's what they made me for. He pressed a few buttons. The ship moved into a narrow asteroid belt, hiding them from scanners. I don't care what they made you for, he said. I care what you choose. She looked out the window. The stars moved slowly now, like they were watching. Then came a voice, metallic and cold. Target Echo 9. You are surrounded. You cannot run forever. A transmission. Enemy ships had found them again. Riven cursed under his breath. They're fast. Too fast. The girl stood. Let me go. I'll give myself up. No, he said, without turning. They're hunting me. Not you. They'll take you back. Open your skull. Turn you into something worse. I won't let that happen. She stepped closer. Then what do we do? He pointed to a blinking red dot on the map. There's a storm field in Sector K92. We can hide there, but it's dangerous. Dangerous how? Magnetic waves. Black winds. No clear path. Most ships don't survive it. She paused. Let's go. Riven looked at her. You sure? She nodded. If I die, at least I die free. He pushed the ship forward. The stars bent around them. The storm field rose in the distance like a wall of black mist and red lightning. Behind them, 3 hunter ships followed. Inside the ship, lights flickered. Gravity shifted. Hold on, Riven said. The girl grabbed a rail as the ship entered. The storm. Instantly, darkness swallowed them. Winds roared. The ship rattled like it was screaming. Sparks flew. Alarms beeped. Then, silence. Everything stopped. The ship floated in pitch black space. No stars, no time, no direction. Are we dead? She whispered. No, Riven said. We're hidden. He checked the radar. They're scanning. But they can't see us. Not here. She walked to the window. Nothing outside. Just shadows. Like the universe had vanished. I don't like this place, she said. Me neither, he replied. She turned. Why are you helping me, Riven? Really? He leaned back. For the first time, he looked tired. I was a soldier once, he said. I followed orders, did terrible things. I thought I was saving people, but I was just a tool, like they tried to make you. He looked at her. One day, I walked away. Never looked back. She nodded slowly. You're not a soldier now. No, he said. Now I help people who never got the chance. They sat in silence. Suddenly, the ship shook again. Riven jumped to the controls. They found us how? She asked. I don't know, maybe they locked onto your signal again. She moved to the engine room. I'll shut it down, Riven shouted. Wait. If you do that, we'll be dead in the water. But she was already gone. She reached the engine and placed her hand on the panel. She whispered, quiet, sleep. The lights dimmed. The engine went silent. Everything stopped. Even the air, Riven whispered. They're passing us. The radar blinked once, then went blank. The hunter ships flew past blind in the storm. Riven let out a deep breath. She came back, pale but standing. It worked, he smiled. You're getting good at that. She sat down. I still don't know my real name. He thought for a second. Do you want one? She blinked. A real one. Yes, he said. You've earned it. She closed her eyes, then opened them. Lyra, she said. I want to be called Lyra. Riven nodded. Then Lyra, it is. She smiled softly. Outside, the storm continued. But inside the ship, for the first time, she had a name. And that made her real. The storm field was behind them now. Riven's ship floated above a quiet planet with green clouds and silver oceans. There were no cities, no satellites, just silence. They called it Miraxisa, forgotten world, off the map. Riven stood near the landing ramp, tightening his gloves. We'll only be here for an hour. My contact will meet us in the ruins. Beside him, Lyra adjusted the strap on her jacket. Her name felt strange on her tongue, but good in her heart. She had chosen it. It was hers. Can we trust this contact? She asked. I did once, Riven said. That was a long time ago. She raised an eyebrow, not very comforting. He smiled faintly. We don't have many options. They stepped out onto cracked stone. The ground was covered in mist. Tall pillars from a ruined city stood like broken teeth. Birds flew in slow circles overhead, moved through the ruins in silence. Then dashed footsteps. A woman stepped out from behind a wall. Long coat, clean boots. One arm was cybernetic. Her eyes scanned quickly, sharp like a soldier's. Riven, she said. Riven nodded. Kale looked at Lyra. So, this is the girl. Lyra stood straight. I have a name. Kale tilted her head. Do you? Lyra, she said. Kale's mouth curled into a small smile. Strong name. Doesn't change what you are. Riven stepped forward. She's not a threat. She's free. Kale looked at him. No one built like her is ever truly free. They moved into an old lab building. Rusted consoles lined the walls. Dust covered everything. Kale placed a small device on the table. It blinked green. Shielded. No one can hear us now. Lyra looked around. Was this one of the places? Kale nodded. One of the first before they moved everything to LR09. Do you know what I am? Lyra asked. Kale stared at her. Yes. She walked to a console and powered it up. Old files loaded on the screen. Project Echo wasn't just one girl, Kale said. It was a series. Echo 1 through Echo 9. You were the last. The most advanced. Lyra's voice shook. What happened to the others? Dead, Kale said. They burned out. Or were shut down. Lyra looked away. You survived, Kale continued. But they knew you were different. You adapted. You felt. She clicked on a video. A younger Lyra maybe, 7 sitting alone in a white room. A scientist placed a toy on the table. Lyra picked it up and smiled. The scientist stared in shock. She smiled. Someone said in the video, she shouldn't be able to do that. Kale turned off the screen. That's why they locked you up. You were dangerous not because of power, but because of emotion. Lyra whispered. They were scared of me. Riven placed a hand on her shoulder. You scared them because you were becoming human. Kale took a breath. There's more. Someone gave the order to erase you, but someone else stopped it. She tapped a key. A name appeared on screen. Riven Mamara Kalera turned to him. He didn't speak. You worked for them, she said quietly. He nodded. I was a field captain, Riven said. I helped bring in Eco 7. I didn't ask questions. I just followed orders. Lyra took a step back. Kale's voice was cold. He was there when they built you, Lyra. He saw what they did. But one day, he walked away. Lyra's hand shook. You didn't tell me. Riven looked into her eyes. Because I didn't want you to see me as one of them. But I was. You helped them. Yes, he said. And I've spent every day since trying to undo it. Silence. Lyra's heart pounded. She wanted to scream, to run, to hit something. But instead she breathed. I'm not in a cage anymore, she said. So I won't act like I am. She turned to Kale. Why help us? Kale shrugged. Because I saw too many like you die. And maybe I want to be better too. Suddenly a beep. Kale grabbed her scanner. Her face went pale. We've got movement. Ships. They followed you. Riven cursed. How fast? Minutes. Lyra stepped toward the door. We need to leave. Kale stopped her. Too late. There's no time. Lyra looked around. Is there a back exit? Kale nodded. North tunnel. Riven and Lyra ran. Kale stayed behind, lifting her weapon. I'll slow them down, she said. Lyra paused. Why? Kale smiled. Because maybe you're worth it. The last thing Lyra saw before the door closed was Kale walking into the shadows, rifle in hand. Explosions shook the ground behind her. Lyra didn't look back. She and Riven ran through the dark tunnels beneath the ruins of Miraxis. Dust fell from the ceiling. Every footstep echoed like thunder. We're almost there, Riven shouted. Lyra didn't answer. Her heart was full. Not with fear but with something stronger. Pain, anger, and a choice. They burst into the daylight. Above them, enemy ships hovered, scanning. But they hadn't spotted the exit yet. Their ship stood half-covered, in vines and debris, still hidden, still alive. Riven climbed into the cockpit. We can still run. Lyra paused at the entrance. I'm tired of running, she said. Riven looked at her. What are you saying? She turned to face the sky. I have their power. I have their code. But I have my mind. And I know who I am now. He stood beside her. Lyra, you stay. I'm not staying, she said. I'm finishing it. He understood. She stepped into the ship, opened a secret panel, and pulled out the crystal, the one that once reacted to her touch. Its light pulsed with her heartbeat. Then she took a deep breath and turned toward the sky, in orbit above Miraxis. 3 enemy ships circled like hawks. Inside one, a man with cold eyes stared at the screen. Echo 9 has been located, the officer said, awaiting orders. Bring her in, the man replied. Alive. No damage. We built her. We own her. The officer nodded. But then, the power flickered. Sir, something is wrong. Outside, the stars shimmered then bent. A single beam of light shot from the planet's surface. Not a weapon. A signal. Inside their ship, every screen turned to static. Then a voice. You don't own me. The systems shorted. Lights exploded. Soldiers screamed. One by one, the enemy ships went dark. Back on the planet, Riven watched in awe. Lyra stood in the clearing, eyes closed, the crystal floating above her palm. She was glowing. Not with heat, but with will. Machines across the sky responded to her. They obeyed not because they were programmed, but because she was more than code now. She was something new. She dropped to her knees. The crystal dimmed. The sky was silent. The enemy was gone. She had ended it not with violence, but with control. Later, she sat on the ship's wing, watching the silver ocean in the distance. Riven joined her, 2 cups in hand. Water, he said. Best I could do. She smiled. Tastes like victory. He chuckled. So, what now? She looked at the horizon. I don't know. I could hide, disappear, live in peace. You earned that, Riven said. She was quiet for a while. Then, she said, but there are others, aren't there? Others like me. Still locked away. Still waiting. Riven nodded. I've seen the files. Echo 10 was in development. Then there are other labs. Other names. Lyra stood. Then, I can't stop. He looked at her. You're one person. She turned to him. I'm not just a person. He stood with her. Then I'll go to Egypt. Smiled. I'd like that. He offered his hand. She took it. The ship lifted into the sky. Not as a prison, but as a promise in a distant control room. Far away from Mirax's red lights blinked. A figure in shadows leaned forward, watching a screen. Echo 9 is active again. Another voice whispered. She chose to be human. The figure smiled. Then let's see how strong that choice really is.